When was the last time you actually trusted yourself?
When was the last time you actually trusted yourself? Not other people, yourself. Because most people don't lose confidence overnight. They lose it one broken promise at a time. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll wake up earlier, you'll finally make the change you've been thinking about for months, and for a moment, you genuinely mean it. But tomorrow comes, and nothing happens. At first, it seems harmless, just a small delay, just one more excuse, just one more chance later. But every time you fail to follow through on your own word, something quietly changes. Not in your schedule, in your relationship with yourself. Because trust isn't built by what you intend to do. It's built by what you've repeatedly proved to yourself you can do. Most people think the problem is discipline, but often the deeper problem is credibility. Imagine having a friend who constantly promises things and never follows through. Eventually, you stop believing them, not because you hate them, because experience taught you not to trust their words. Now, imagine doing that to yourself for years. You promise change, you promise action, you promise growth, and then you repeatedly abandon those commitments. The mind notices, whether you're conscious of it or not. Every broken promise becomes evidence that your intentions cannot be fully trusted. And eventually, something dangerous happens. You stop expecting yourself to follow through. The goal isn't abandoned immediately. The belief is. And once belief starts disappearing, motivation becomes harder to maintain. Because part of you no longer trusts the person making the promise. You. This is why many people feel stuck even when they know exactly what they should do. The issue isn't lack of knowledge. Most people already know. They know the habit that needs to change, the conversation they need to have, the decision they've been postponing, the opportunity they've been avoiding. Knowledge isn't the missing piece. Trust is. Because when you've broken enough promises to yourself, every new commitment feels suspicious, even when it's sincere. Part of your mind immediately whispers, "You've said this before," and that's what makes change feel so difficult. You're not only trying to build a new behavior, you're trying to rebuild credibility. The credibility that was slowly damaged through years of unfulfilled intentions. And rebuilding trust takes far longer than making promises. The strange thing is that most broken promises begin with good intentions. People aren't usually lying to themselves. They genuinely want to change, but they underestimate something important: the emotional discomfort attached to action. Making a promise feels inspiring. Keeping it often feels uncomfortable, because action requires consistency, effort, patience, and sometimes failure. The excitement of a new plan disappears quickly. What remains is the daily reality of doing difficult things repeatedly. And that's where many promises collapse. Not because the goal stopped mattering, but because discomfort became stronger than commitment. So the promise gets postponed again and again, until eventually postponement becomes the default response whenever something difficult appears. Over time, this pattern affects more than productivity. It affects identity, because people begin seeing themselves through the lens of their past behavior. If you've repeatedly abandoned commitments, it's easy to start believing that inconsistency is simply who you are, that you're not disciplined, not focused, not capable. But that's not necessarily true. What you're experiencing may be the psychological consequence of accumulated self-disappointment, a growing gap between what you say and what you do. And the larger that gap becomes, the harder it is to feel confident about the future. Because confidence isn't built through positive thinking. It's built through evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. Evidence that your actions match your intentions. Without that evidence, self-belief slowly weakens, and many people mistake that loss of trust for lack of ability.
The good news is that trust can be rebuilt, but not through bigger promises, through smaller ones, because credibility grows the same way it was lost, gradually. The mistake many people make is trying to transform their entire life at once. They create enormous expectations, then fail to sustain them, and the cycle continues. Instead, trust returns when you consistently do what you said you would do, even if it's small, especially if it's small, because every completed commitment sends a different message to the mind, a message that says, maybe this time is different. And eventually, those small pieces of evidence begin accumulating, not into perfection, into trust, the kind of trust that allows you to believe your own word again.
At some point, you have to ask yourself a difficult question. How many promises have you made to yourself that you're still waiting to keep? Because the cost of breaking promises isn't just delayed progress, it's the gradual loss of trust in your own voice. The more often you ignore your commitments, the easier it becomes to doubt yourself, to hesitate, to stop believing that meaningful change is possible. But the opposite is also true. Every promise you keep, no matter how small, becomes evidence. Evidence that you're capable of following through. Evidence that your actions can match your intentions. Evidence that your future doesn't have to look like your past. And that's where real confidence comes from. Not from motivation, not from inspiration, from trust. The quiet trust that develops when you repeatedly prove to yourself that your word means something. If this video made you reflect on your relationship with yourself, subscribe to One Choice Away for more videos about psychology, self-awareness, emotional patterns, procrastination, and the hidden habits shaping your future. And remember, the next promise you keep may be far more important than the next promise you make.